recording now.
All
Oh
right,
shit,
so
my oven's ready though.
Oh, you fucker.
Keep going.
No, just go get your
We'll
food.
leave this in. We'll leave this in.
Okay.
We'll edit it in post.
so my dad, Cody, Jeremy, and I left. Go out drinking about 6:30. Get to the social house. It's a painted topless bar where they got all the pasties and all that shit. And we sit down. We're eating. We're having a couple drinks. And as we're eating, having a couple drinks, we notice that there's that guy over to the right who he was just sitting in, it was a group of guys and they were sitting there. And I guess it came out that it was his birthday because we hear belt buckle. We look over. The stripper takes off his belt, or like the
stripper.
listen,
The entertainer.
listen. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the guy took off his, had his belt taken off and then pulled his pants down and was fucking just whipped, just spanked like he's on the ground, just dead.
Like, he was, like, doubled over in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like snaps with this fucking belt. It was also probably the hottest waitress in the restaurant.
That's fair.
Or you ain't getting whipped by the ugly one.
No, she was rolling silverware.
Yeah, she actually was.
Topless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
Until she put her Nickelodeon shirt on.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know.
Nobody wants to see my boobs. There's
Exactly.
time for me.
She wasn't ugly, she just didn't have, like, very big boobs for a restaurant like that.
But regardless, we eat, we have a couple drinks, all have a couple beers, and then we're like, all right, let's get out of here. So we walk out, and we're like, all right, well, what bar are we going to next? So we're looking on the maps, and I'm like, oh, there's this, this cocktail bar just a couple blocks over. Let's go. So we're driving over there, and as we start passing it, we're looking inside, and it's like that looks far too fancy for our blood.
Like it was like as we were driving, not knowing the area, we were still in Soulard, but like we're approaching like very nice area of Soulard. Like everything around looks like super high class, and we're like, it's gonna be pricey. And when we pulled up to the actual building, we were like, that doesn't look cheap.
So not that we expected anything cheap, but even there, it would have been like an $18 drink.
Oof.
Probably. So like whatever, we passed it, we keep driving.
Oh god, I exploded. Sorry.
But my dad's like, all right, hey, let's go over to fucking the landing. He's like, so drive over to the landing, find a parking spot. We're talking the whole time, we're having a good time. We park, and as we park, we see this sign on the side of the block of the landing, and it says Big Daddy's bar and grill. So we're like, all right.
Yeah, first thing we see when we fucking parked. Also, if you don't know where the landing is, it's literally adjacent to the arch grounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all walk up, and they've got like an outside, like a patio area. So we're sitting there, order a couple more drinks.
Do a shot.
And of course, my dad, he drank a beer at the social house, but he really didn't drink it all that night, just driving us around.
Yeah. I had 2 beers at the social house, and then I had 2 shots at
I had
Daddy's.
2 beers, a Long Island, and a whiskey sour at the social house. And then I had a beer and a shot at Big
I had
Daddy's.
like 2.5 beers at the. Well, I probably had just 2 beers total.
I guess I should just throw on a half beer to mine, because I did finish off yours.
But so we go, and we're at this Big Daddy's, and we all order, like, Jeremy orders a Kraken and a Dr. I can't remember what you
Bud Light.
Yeah,
probably.
Bud Light, and I got because my dad was like, oh, you should try a Bloody Mary, see how that is, and that was really see why people.
And I've never had one, and I tasted his, and I liked it a lot too. Jeremy wasn't a fan, but like,
Oh yeah, I was not.
It's almost like a spicy V8. I mean, I know that's probably just how they made it, but like,
from the explanation and like recipes that I've seen of Bloody Marys, it tends to be a lot of that. It's tomato juice, Tabasco, maybe a little bit of spices, vodka, and that they put on it.
all right. But we're just hanging out, we're drinking, and then we're like, all right, let's go do a shot. So we all go up, we get a shot of Kraken. All of us take a shot, we're having a good time. And at that point, my dad's like, all right, you guys want to go for a walk around the landing real quick? We're like, hell yeah. So we get up and we start walking around the landing. And of course, I thought it was funny. We were telling him about Nick and the mailbox thing, and he's like, if anyone kicks over a mailbox, you're fucking grounded. But so we're walking.
I forgot that we explained all of that to him.
Yeah. And we get to the side of the landing that the Arch Grounds is on, and we're like, we should go to the Arch Grounds. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's closed. So whatever, we keep walking, we get back to the truck. Well, and as we're getting like crossing across the parking lot to get back in the truck, Jeremy bends down. He's like, "There's this piece of jewelry," right? And like picks it up. It's like a broken
Like
necklace,
a bracelet.
or like
It's
a bracelet.
yeah.
We're like, we don't know if it's real or not, or if it's real gold or not.
Or even the
It's
gems
fake.
in it, what they are.
Is it fake?
Yeah, I was looking at it today, and I popped a gem out, and I'm like, this is definitely fake.
Yeah, because I figured like most of the time jewelry is gonna be like JCPenney, Walmart jewelry,
Yeah.
but like there was always the chance that it wasn't.
Regardless, we get in the car then, and then at that point, my dad's like, "Here, let's go to River City." So we go to the casino. We get a couple.
Mostly to see a concert.
Yeah, well, we go in,
That's
we get and when we went, go to the parking garage, get inside. Well, as we're like going through the area, that it's like, my dad just walks through, but like, all of us look, mid young 20s. So the guy's like, "All right, let me see all your IDs," and and it's this Indian looking guy, and he's standing at the thing, and he's got a name tag, and it said Quai, like Quai. And as we're like, waiting for the scan, he's got like a couple different things that he can scan different IDs at the same time. And Cody kind of cracks a joke. He's like, "Wow, you got a lot of places to scan that, don't you?" And Quai, like he doesn't.
He just didn't
at
acknowledge
all.
me at all. Like he just kept going. Like this dude was like the most straight faced fucking like.
Well, I was thinking, it's like,
what the fuck is going on? Like being friendly. Like
he works at a casino. I'm sure he gets cracks from people all the fucking time. And at this point, whether it's like good-hearted or not, he just ignores it. Like we go to like the part where they're having a concert. We get a couple drinks, and like we step out for a second because it's a little crowded up there. We're like, "All right, how about fuck it, let's gamble a little bit." So we we have a couple dollars of cash on all or two penny stocks, and we just start playing a little bit, having a good time. And Jeremy fucking won big. He put in what? You put in $4?
$2.
he put in $2, and then he was like, I don't know if I should hit it. So I just start smashing the fucking button, and I'm winning him money. And then like, he starts losing a little bit, and then he'll win a little bit, and he's just playing it. And then I'd hit it, and for some reason, every time I hit it, it won. But got himself up to like $4 or $5, and then he started playing, and he was losing and losing and losing, and then finally he hits one, and it's like, "You win 10 free spins." He's like, "I don't know how I did that, but I just did it." So it's spinning, and like all you do is you see the credits going up and up and up and up and up and up, and then finally the credits transfer over to the money, and then it's like the money's going up and up and up and up and up, and Jeremy made fucking $10 off the $2.
Well,
Nice.
It was like eight.
Yeah, he landed at like 8 something. And then Cody gambled a little bit, but like I gambled a little bit.
I didn't have any cash. I had to go to the ATM. I go over to the ATM, and it's like a $5 or $6 fee, and the minimum you can take out is $60. And I'm like, I'm not spending $60. So I just ate the fucking service charge, went over there, put 120 in, and I played until I got down to 10, and then I cashed out and still had 50.
Because we're like, this is fun, but like,
We didn't
or
plan.
yeah, if we like made a plan to go gamble, then we gamble a little bit more. But it's like, it was just kind of, we showed up for a drink, and then we're like, let's gamble.
Mm.
But like we're walking around, Jeremy redeems his voucher. I have 2 vouchers for 30 cents that I'm just gonna keep these for sentimental value. It's not worth a quarter and a nickel. But and then Cody's got like his $10 voucher, and he redeemed it. And he's like, I kind of want to, go find a roulette table. And we look for a little bit, and it's just like, never mind. Like it's not worth cashing in $10 for chips to play like 1 or 2 hands of roulette, and then
When
leave.
there's like people at each table, and you're just gonna like be the annoying kid that's like, "Hey, I'd like to get you $10," and they're like over there like fucking
Here's your chip.
$1,000 at the table. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, we get ready, we leave, we get back to the parking garage, and we start driving. And my dad's like, "Hey, Pops over in Illinois is pretty good, and we're not too far away." So we start driving, and as we're driving, he's like, "Oh, there's also a bar over here that like one of my buddies, he does karaoke here every other Saturday. He has a pretty good following." Like pull in, he's like, "Yeah, no, there's no one in this parking lot, so he's not here. It's going to be dead in there." So we just passed it, kept going to Pops. We pull up to Pops, and as we're like pulling into Pops, we're kind of like out, joking. We see that there's the Diamond Cabaret
Country Rock Cabaret.
Yeah.
Cabaret. So we're joking about, let's go to the strip club. So we go into Pops, and they've got like a concert, like a cover band for Pantera in there.
Yeah, they're just doing like a bunch of like 90s metal.
Yeah. So we go in there. First thing we do, we go over to the bar, which there was no cover charge there. I'm thinking.
I think there's supposed to be. I think the doorman was just cool and let us go in.
Yeah.
Because I think we came in kind of late for, like, that concert. The band said they had been performing for like 3.5, 4 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And we came in literally on the last song before the encore. So I think that they were just like, we're not going to fucking charge them a cover charge to come in this late.
But, so yeah, the first thing we do, we go over to the bar. We all get a couple drinks. Like, we get some more Long Islands, and then Jeremy gets like a rum and coke.
Yeah, I got a rum and coke.
So then they start playing the last song. It was "Walk" by Pantera, and we're all over there.
Really quick, they're like, all right, like, we've been playing this long. We're gonna do one more song, by a '90s metal band, biggest metal band in the world at one time. But you guys got to all promise to get up, come here to the middle, and sing along. And I "Walk" by Pantera, and he goes, huh? I go, the song, it's gonna be "Walk" by Pantera, and he goes, huh? And sure enough, fucking "Walk" by Pantera, and like I'm having a great time. I'm like up there fucking singing it and dancing to it, fucking just having a great time.
Yeah, so we're all up there just having a good time. And then after they end that song, that was the end of their set. So they're like, "All right, guys, thanks for coming out." And they start packing up their stuff, and everyone's going back to their table. Well, a lot of people just left because they'd probably been there for 4 hours just listening to that band. But we go back to our table, and then we're like, all right, let's, we're just hanging out. Okay, where do we want to go next after we leave here? Do we want to have a couple more drinks? So we all go back up to the bar. Cody's a man, and he buys us all another shot of
Fireball.
it was
Which were $5 a piece. The Kraken that we had earlier in the night were $6 a piece, but still paying $5. I paid $15 for shots of Fireball. Kind of ridiculous, but like it totally worth it in the moment. But like, just obscene.
Well,
but,
that's
like,
the thing.
it's also the type of venue that we were at. Like, it's gonna cost that much.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing, take cards. So like, they could take your card.
It was like a roundabout way of doing it. It was very weird.
Yeah, they need your card and your ID, and then they just like withdraw 25 and then pay out of that, and then hand you back the change card.
So like, I don't really understand like why it's like that. Like, it's a weird way of doing it.
The thing is, we were going over to the ATM. Well, like, we knew that happened. Okay, like, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of my. We have another drink, and at this point, we're like, we're ready to leave, and we're kind of thinking like, fuck it, we're right there. The Diamond Cabaret is right over there. Let's go to the strip club. So we're like, okay, well, there's gonna be a cover charge, probably about $20-$25.
And I was the only one that had any cash on me.
So like, we all go over to the ATM, and like, as we're about to use it, the guy, that ATM, it's like, you have a service charge there. You can use your card at the bar, like, and not just not buy anything. Just ask for 5 cash advance. I'm like, all right, thanks. He's like, yeah, I'm part of the crew. Like, I want you to do that. And we're like, all right, yeah, for sure, thanks. So we all go over, get 25 cash advance out of the bartender, and we all go outside. We're hanging out, waiting for everyone to come outside, finishing. We go. Get in the truck, just drive over to the Diamond Cabaret. Well, because we're like, we can go to the Diamond Cabaret or the Country Club Cabaret, and it's like the Country Rock Cabaret. It's like, well,
like, I wouldn't mind going there, but like, country music's just not really anybody in our group's
Country
thing.
rock.
None of us music, and I'm pretty sure I can do without a stripper with a cowboy hat on.
Yeah, he was wearing my Bud Light hat.
So
It's just Clay Aiken.
Oh, God.
Stripping on the pole.
Oh.
but
Stripping on Lil Nas's pole, really.
oh no, but so we go over, we park, we go like up to the the Diamond Cabaret, and as we're walking in, the guy's he's checking our IDs. He's like, oh, you guys, you just turned 21. And I'm like, yeah, well, we're having a good time. And we get inside, go through like the little metal detector, putting all of our stuff in the bins.
Big stereotypical black bouncer.
Yeah.
Like, just giant guy, like, just massive, like that dude could have crushed all 3 of our heads at the same time type of fucking massive dude.
So we walk through, and he's like, all right. Yeah. But he's like, all right, cover charge is $20. So, we got like, all right, well, that's, a bit, but like, at least there being a cover charge of $20, it's like, there will be some baseline of like, we aren't going to be seeing like crackheads in here or nothing. maybe cokeheads, but like not.
Yeah,
crack.
like Anthony's dad was like, one thing I've learned in this world is that if you go to a strip cover charge, leave.
Yeah. But like, we go in, and we're like, all right. So we walk around, we find a table, and we sit down. We pull up a couple chairs, and we're kind of sitting there looking at the different stages, and we're like, this is kind of far away.
And we ordered drinks,
Yeah, we ordered drinks, so like we're kind of just like sitting there.
which
You've
were
got,
really
like,
expensive.
binoculars looking at the stages.
Yeah,
How
there's
do
a-
I? How do
We
I?
couldn't have been further, but it was the
Is that a
table that was
nipple?
open. It was basically like that, and it's super dark in this club, so it's like visibility's not that great. But
Yeah.
like, so we ordered the drinks. We're still at that fucking table all the way in the back, and we ordered the drinks. They're like fucking $10 a piece, and they're like the little ones. Like if you go to like a little event, and they've got like those tiny solo cups that are like maybe 8 ounces, like the
So
size of
nice.
that.
And filled
Yeah.
with ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like $10 a piece, and they only take cash. You can go to the bar, but if you're getting table service, it's cash.
Yeah.
And then
Like-
after we order, that's when we saw the other table.
Yeah, so we order, and then like as soon as we do, like this guy that was like this group of guys that were at a different table that was like closer to the stage, they got up and they left. So we're like, it's only like a couple feet away from our table.
But
Like,
it's closer.
It's 10 feet away, so we're like, let's go. And there's like less obstructions in the way. So like we walk over there, we sit down, we're just kind of looking around, and then eventually the server comes over and she finds us because we're right there and gives us our drinks, we pay, and we're having a couple drinks, we're having a good time, and we're just looking at all the different stages, and they got new people, and all of a sudden, my dad, like, I don't know what he did, but like he got up and he's like, I'll be right back. So he left. I don't know. I think he went to get money out or get a drink or something. Well, he left.
And granted, there's like a ton of the tables, and there's a ton of fucking strippers walking around, and a lot of the strippers will like, to get you to buy a private dance, they'll come and chit chat with you. So like, if there's like 2 guys or just 1 guy at a table, they'll come around and they'll just sit down with you and like.
So I'm gonna tell this, and then we'll get to the other part, the Mitch. But
I
always forget
Mitch.
about the Mitch thing. Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
so we're all sitting at the table. My dad left, so it's just me, Jeremy, and Cody on separate sides, and then my dad's got his empty seat. And so we're sitting there, and some stripper walks up, and she's like, "Hey, is anyone sitting here?" And Cody and I immediately, no one's sitting.
Sit there. Yeah. Oh, by the way, probably the hottest stripper in the fucking place.
But so we're like, no. And then Jimmy's like, no, someone's sitting there. And she's like, wait, can I sit here? And he's like, or she goes, can I sit here? Is there someone here? And he goes, yes, I can sit here. Or yes, there's someone here. And Jimmy goes, that's Phil's.
That's Phil's spot.
And she fucking walks away.
Like really like disappointedly too. Like she was like almost frustrated. Like really? Like
Yeah.
You guys
like can't
your autistic
believe
friend
that just
take
happened. Me and Anthony sat there in shock for a solid like 5 seconds, and I look at Jeremy and I go, Jeremy, next time somebody walks to our table, keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yeah, so guys, it's Phil's spot. And like, we're laughing. And then the Mitch thing happens. So what happens is like,
Phil spot.
so this guy, I guess Mitch, who was in the club, it was his party. And so like, there's the DJ talking and introducing dancers and stuff the whole time we're there. Well, he's like, Mitch, come over to stage 2 or whatever. Your friend's got a surprise for you. Well, Mitch, come over, and we're sitting there, and a couple 20 seconds pass, and then he's like, Mitch, where are you, buddy? We got a surprise over here at stage 2 from your buddies, and like,
You see the drunk guy in the background
Yeah.
stumbling towards the
somebody-
stage.
and they're like, Mitch, there you are. Turn to your right. Right. You're colder, warmer. There you are, right there, buddy.
They literally
Like-
called Mitch's name for like a good
5
5
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, it was just like an
Fuck.
ongoing, like we didn't realize what was, like
We
we
were
would
like-
just hear it, but we're like chit chatting, and then
But yeah, so Mitch gets to the stage and he lays down. He sits in a chair, and they're like, they got 2 strippers over there, and they're fucking, doing their thing. They're grinding all. It's like, man, what I would give to be Mitch.
You're like, I'm about to be Mitch because Mitch wasn't showing up.
Yeah, we're
And
like,
it was-
I'm Mitch. So we're joking around, and then my dad comes back and sits down, and we're telling him about the Mitch story, and we tell him about fucking Jeremy, and he's like, listen, if a topless girl comes over and asks to take my seat, it's not my seat anymore.
It was never my seat to begin with.
So, but we're all just sitting down. We're just kind of, looking at the stages again. And so fucking Cody, I don't know why. We're in a building filled with fucking more tits than a bird sanctuary. And And Cody's just focused on this guy who's wearing a band shirt, and he's like, "That's a cool."
It's
fucking
not a
shirt."
band shirt. It was a Violent Gentleman's Hockey Club shirt. He
Whatever.
likes
That's a lot
hockey.
better.
Yeah. So Cody's fucking like creaming over this dude who's got this hockey shirt on, and he comes over and he's chatting about it and chatting to Cody and talking back and forth, and eventually he leaves. But we're all just hanging out, talking, and the girl comes back, and because at this point I'd ordered another drink, and Cody ordered another drink, and then she's like, "Jeremy, you want anything?" He's like, "No, I'm good." And she left to go get our drinks, and then I was like, "Jeremy, why didn't you order a drink?" He's like, "Because I need to go get cash out of the
'Cause it's
ATM."
Bill's drink.
He's like, "Get cash out
I
of the
gotta guard
ATM."
Phil's spot. I can't get up.
He's like, I don't want to get up. Like, I can't, I don't want to get cash out of the ATM right now. And I was like,
I was
all right.
enjoying the view.
So like, she brings back our drinks, Cody and mine's drinks. And as she's there, I was like, hey, can I actually get a Jack and Coke for my friend here? And then like, as she's starting to say something, Jeremy's like, actually a rum and Coke. And then she fucking, even at the strip club, she's like, yeah, is Pepsi okay? And we're like, all right,
And
whatever.
Jeremy says, no, it's Phil's drink.
But
He requires Coke.
But she comes back and drops it off, and we're drinking, and then eventually, we're all just hanging out at the point, just sitting there. We sat there for a while, and then as we're sitting there, this table, these guys,
Directly to the left of
Oh
me.
my fucking god.
The guy walks up and he's got a bra like around his like neck, like on his shoulder, and like a girl walks up and she's chit chatting with him. And they're chit chatting for a minute, and then like three of his buddies come over and sit down, or no, two of his buddies come over and sit down, and they're sitting down over there, and they've got like one more chair pulled up, and then I stole one of the chairs from that table and pulled it up to us so that Phil's spot wasn't the only open spot at our table anymore. So like that girl walks up, those three are chit chatting, and then all of a sudden two more girls is standing. I'm talking like maybe 6 or 7 inches in between, staring. And I've got that chair, and I'm just like waiting. I'm like, please turn around and ask if you can borrow the chair. And like she doesn't. Then that dude's buddy walks up and he goes, hey man, you using this chair? I go, no.
At the point, just sitting there. We sat there for a while, and then as we're sitting there, this table, these guys,
Directly to the left of
Oh
me.
my fucking god.
The guy walks up and he's got a bra like around his like neck, like on his shoulder, and like a girl walks up and she's chit chatting with him. And they're chit chatting for a minute, and then like three of his buddies come over and sit down, or no, two of his buddies come over and sit down, and they're sitting down over there, and they've got like one more chair pulled up, and then I stole one of the chairs from that table and pulled it up to us so that Phil's spot wasn't the only open spot at our table anymore. So like that girl walks up, those three are chit chatting, and then all of a sudden two more girls is standing. I'm talking like maybe 6 or 7 inches in between, staring. And I've got that chair, and I'm just like waiting. I'm like, please turn around and ask if you can borrow the chair. And like she doesn't. Then that dude's buddy walks up and he goes, hey man, you using this chair? I go, no man, you can take it. So he takes the chair. But then like they're like taking their bras off and like trying on the bra that this guy's got like around his fucking shoulders and shit, and like they're just like sitting there like feeling each other out, just like fucking like standing right, and Cody's just got the best view in the world of it, and we're like sitting there like, huh?
But so while
Cody's
this is
getting
happening,
cooked by a stripper and just enjoying it.
but so, like, at this point, we're sitting down, and I finished my drink, and one of the girls came by, and she's like, "You guys want more drinks?" And Jeremy and Cody are like, Cody was still in the middle of his, I think, and Jeremy was just like, "Nah," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a drink." And I broke a 20 for that one. Like previously, I had some cash that I was able to just pay, price that I needed. Well, I paid her the 20. It was like a $7 or $8 drink. And she comes back, and like I know they do this for a reason, but she's like, "All right, here's your $10 is your change." It hands me 10 and ones, and I was like, "I know what you're doing. I'm not mad, but I know what you're doing." But she walks away, and we're sitting there, and Jeremy's like, "Hey, I might go hit up the bar and get a drink, and then go to the ATM." And so he's like, "Here's what we'll do." He's like, because I was like, "I have some ones on me." He's like, "How about?"
And I had $15 that it was in fives that I wanted to break into.
So like
Go.
Jeremy's like, "Here, can you walk with me, Anthony? Because I'm a little drunk. I don't want to walk by myself." So he's like, "I'm gonna go to the bar."
What if he gets molested or something?
I didn't want someone to fucking
It's okay.
try
It's
to
okay.
fucking escort me
But
away to spend
Jeremy
more
wasn't
money.
the first one that got molested.
So we walk over, and Jeremy, the whole going over to the bar. Jamie's gonna get a drink. Then we're gonna walk over.
Cody's gonna break
the
his
ATM.
money,
Yeah, he's gonna break his money. We're gonna go over
which
to the
I never
ATM.
did.
Or no, Jeremy had a 20, and that's what he was doing. He'd gone to the ATM. He was gonna break it, and then we were just gonna go over to one of the stages that didn't have there's maybe one other group of people there.
Yeah, because the main stage, there are 2 or 3 dancers up there, but there's also probably 15 people lined up around it. So you're really fighting for attention by throwing the money out there. But if you go to the side stage, there's only a total of 7 or 8 seats over there, and there almost the entire time there was only 1 or 2 people over there, and the side stage still had it was one of those places to where it didn't seem like the side stage was the shittier dancers and
You
the
gotta
top
think though,
performers
it's
were on the
also
other. It was just,
Saturday night.
That's
So it's
true.
not-
So the rotation was pretty even. We were seeing people at the side stage that 15-20 minutes before were on the main stage.
Walking to the bar. We get to the bar, and Jeremy starts, breaking his 20. And as we're breaking the 20, there's this Asian stripper at the bar.
Yeah, because she was talking to the bartender, and he goes, "Are you still going by Kira now?" And then she noticed me looking at her, and she goes, "Hey guys," and then you two fucking looked over, and then she was like, "What are you?" And we explained that we were taking Anthony out for his 21st.
She greeted all of us. She's like, hi, and
Yeah, she asked for all of our names, and she came up. Oh, before we what we were doing, she goes, "What's wrong, guys? Do you guys have yellow fever, or you guys afraid of yellow people, or something like that?" And I was like, "I'm actually a quarter Japanese," was my plug, which in hindsight was the stupidest fucking thing I could have said.
I don't like that she's talking to you you're a fucking tard.
It was literally
she's like, "Oh, hi guys. You got a touch of the yellow fever, do you?
But-
Oh, so cute."
But legitimately, I felt like that guy that's I know a black guy. I'm not racist.
yeah, I am.
By being I'm a quarter Asian.
But yeah, she's talking to us, and she's like, "Oh, is this you guys' first time at a strip club?" We're like, "Yeah." She's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, dance it." And we're like, "No, none of us have gotten a dance." And she's like, "Oh, you guys have to." And then at that point, Cody explained that it's like, "Oh yeah, we're taking him out for his 21st birthday." And obviously, the whole place is just designed to manipulate you. And I'll
it just clicked in her head perfect opportunity. To
it's gonna touch.
key
It's
in.
gonna. I'm gonna touch on it again later. But she goes, "Oh, it's his 21st birthday. Come on, you guys got to buy him a dance." And Cody and Jeremy are like, Cody's like, "Mr. Moneybags over here."
Because I couldn't really tell if you were into it, and I didn't mind paying for the dance. But if you're just I don't know whether you don't
And
want
Anthony's screaming, "Yes!"
feeling that stripper.
Yes!
Well, here's
So
the
I'm
thing.
I was
trying
kinda
to what
drunk.
Anthony's like.
Yeah, so Jeremy looks at me and he goes, "Hey, Anthony, do you want to dance?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, it's an experience." So he goes, "Here." I get out to because she's like, "How much?" It's like $40.
Acting like it was a discount, but that's the standard price.
Yeah, but so Jeremy's like, "Here, I'll get out 20 if Cody gets out 20." We'll return to Cody because Cody was talking to her at this point, or saying something to her. And he's like, Jeremy's like, "I'm good with it," and Cody's like, "All right, well then I guess we'll go to the ATM." So at this point, this is the point where they go over to the ATM and it's just Anthony over here, and she's talking to me and she goes, "So you've never had a private dance?" I was like, "No." She's like, "You just turned 21?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "You look older." I'm like, "It's because of the beard." She's like, That's fair." Well, as I go over there, she's like, "Would you mind buying me a drink?" And I was like, "I know what this is. I know I'm going to pay for the drink and then nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get a drink because you're not drunk here. That's not smart for you." But so Cody and Jeremy come back, and just as they're coming back, I hand the bartender the money for the drink, and then they hand her the money, and then it go. And as we're walking away, in my head, I'm a little mad. I'm like, "Fucking yeah, no."
You're like, wait, you don't have alcohol?
Where's that drink?
I was like, "I want the yeah."
I want my goddamn money back.
I didn't think about it. So we go. And we have the private dance, but it's the way it's set up is it's almost set up there's 2 entrances on either side, and there's a long hallway where there's that's where where the strippers stand. But in all the cubbies is where there's a seat is where the guy sits, and they
So
turn
you
on the
can't
light.
see the guy. If you're walking down the hallway, you can't see the guy, but you can kind of see the.
But so wherever we have. She has a dance, and it lasts about, I guess, a song. I didn't really pay attention to if it was like a timing thing or if it was just a song. But at the end, I was like, oh, I guess it was a song. And she's like, do you want another? And I was like, well, okay, I guess backing up, going to the ATM. She goes, so do you like Asian women? And I was like, I mean, yeah. And she goes, I was a lot of hesitant. I've had like 7 on Long Island's tonight. And she's like, that's, how many have you had here? And I was like, 3. And she's like, oh, no, that's not good. And I was like, yeah, so whatever. We go to do the dance, and the dance is over. She's like, oh, would you like to get another one? I was like, no, I do not want to spend another 40. I do not want to spend $40. Like, so whatever, you know, I walk out.
Saying GTA, I can't kill you for money afterwards.
He's like, I can, but he's like, I can, but when I go to prison, it's for real.
Yeah. I'm like, I can't call Lester and have him take my wanted level down.
But
I would, but I lost Lester's number.
oh shit! But so like, I walk out of the you know the area, and as I'm walking back to like our table, I see Cody there. I don't see Jeremy. Like I walk up, I'm like, oh, Cody, the boy.
He has the biggest smile on his fucking face. Like I could see his fucking at me the second he walked out of the fucking room.
Where was Phil during all of this?
I don't
We
know.
don't know.
We have no idea where Phil went.
Phil
all
was
I know-
spending $180.
Is that I went into that room and I came out Chip Skylark.
For real though.
But like I come over, sit down with Cody, and I'm talking to him, and we're laughing and joking. We're like, oh, where's Jeremy? We look over, and Jeremy's at one of the side stages, and he's just throwing the stage we were looking at earlier, and there's no one over there.
And I'm also
He's
at this
throwing
point.
ones at nobody.
Oh, really quick.
No,
Hey, really quick. When I went to the ATM, I took out 100 into the 20 because I was like, you know what? I think if I go home tomorrow and I think about it and I didn't get myself a private dance, I'm gonna be a little upset because I wasn't really the type to go to a strip club. And now that I'm there, it's like I can cross it off my bucket list, but I might as well do the private dance too. So I'm kind of looking around the whole time waiting on Anthony for that, and Jeremy was over at that fucking side table. So go ahead, Anthony.
So I guess as an aside, Cody apparently didn't need much convincing to get a dance, especially when I came back and I was like, yeah, it's worth doing it once.
Yeah, I really wanted to see what he said about. Like, probably not worth $40. I wasn't gonna do it, but if he said that it was, I was like, I'm interested in it. So we look over at, like, we see where Jeremy's at, and Jeremy's sitting over there, throwing ones on this girl, and she's like leaned back, grabbing his hands, and like making him like touch her, like her tits and shit like that.
Oh,
yeah,
great
too
fucking
much
time.
I'm sure.
And that's when it occurs to me that like this is a place that like touching is encouraged.
Well, it very much comes down to like I guess who it was. Well, we go over there, and
Cody tries it in.
because keep in mind Anthony still had his $9 from earlier because I got to, they bought the dance and then I went in there, so I still had like $9-10 or whatever in ones. It's not so much about balling out and having a bunch; it's just knowing when to throw out a one.
Oh yeah.
But so like we walk over there and we sit down and we're just kind of passing ones a little bit back and forth, and then she gets up and she's done. The song ends and she starts changing out for this other girl.
And covered in cum.
Okay, so I want to tell this part because it pertains to me quite a bit.
Cody's the cum
So
coverer.
the girl comes up, and I still I bought Anthony that dance, but like I've got like the $80 in my pocket, and then I've also got 3 $5 bills that I was going to exchange for ones, but I didn't. But I'm already sitting there. The girl comes up. She walks to the other side, dancing for them a little bit, and I'm like really liking this girl. I'm like, all right. Like I'm looking around, So then she comes over, and Jeremy's kind of like throwing ones, and Anthony's throwing a couple, and like they're doing that thing where they put it like in the
Drink.
Yeah. So like she's doing that or whatever, and I'm holding my 5 so that you can see that it's a 5.
Oh.
And she comes over and she like grabs it and like definitely can tell it's a 5. She's like doing the thing where she's like taking my hands and like making me like squeeze her ass and shit. And then she like lays back on her back, like where her head's like dangling off the table, looks at me, grabs my hands, and like makes me like fucking like play with her boobs. So she's doing that, and she's giving us like a lot of attention.
Making like it's like you don't want
encouraging, guiding.
Here's the thing,
So
regardless
yeah.
of whether you feel like it or not, it is making like
yeah, like you're doing it. Like they're in control. And so like I'm doing that, and like she's giving us a lot of attention because I gave her literally.
I mean, mind
that,
you,
and
there
they're
was only
throwing some
like
money and
one other
stuff.
like couple at the other side of the bar, like at the other side of the stage, and you know, like the guy can't like all of a sudden start tossing a bunch of money because his wife's gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
So she's
What
like,
the fuck?
she's
Every
like his.
time I dance like this, you don't toss anything.
So she starts talking to us, and she's like, you know, still dancing, and she's like, hey, like, have you guys ever been here before? And we're like, no, this is our first time at a strip club. And he goes, if any of you guys got a private dance, and we're like, yeah, we bought one for or we gave our boy one. And she goes, you gave him the dance, and we go, we bought him one. And so she kind of laughed about that or whatever, and she looks at me and Jeremy, and she goes, you guys didn't get one for yourselves yet? And I go, no. I go, I'm looking, you know, I'm thinking about doing it. And she goes, have you seen anybody you like? And I go, no, I'm kind of looking. I go, I have seen one. And she goes, I think I might know her. And she goes, if you want one, just find me after this. And I go, how much? And she goes, 40. So then she's like, still like, you know, she's finishing up her dance and kind of like giving attention to the other guys now. And she's dancing. So like she gets off stage, and I'm like, I think I might do it. And Anthony's like, dude, you should. And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, where is she? And he's like, oh, she's like right over there. And I look over, and she's like off the stage, like where like you set down your purse, and you know she had collected her money, and she was just doing that. And I walk over, and I go, hey, like I think I'm gonna take you up on your offer. And she was like, all right, like follow me. And like so we're chit chatting.
Made it
And we
sound
go into this
very
fucking room.
uninterested. All right, follow me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Follow me.
thank you.
Yeah.
So
Cody,
like
you
she
tell
walks
your
over.
perspective of like your dance, and then we'll come back to what was happening with Jeremy and I while that was happening.
Okay. So we walked back there or whatever, and me and her chat, and she was like, so first time, you know, and I was like, yeah, I go, just never really thought about coming here. I go, I've only been 20 for a few months. And she was like, oh, okay, like, you know, and we're chit-chatting, we're having a good time chit-chatting. She walks to the room, and I sit down, and it's like that little cubby, and like there's like a chair in the center of the wall, and there's nothing in the sides to where like you could almost like accidentally, because when I sat kind of off center. I'm like, oh shit, like because it's super dark, so I like readjusted, and I sat down, and she's like, I know the song just started. Charge you for this one because you know it's not a full song, so this one's free. And so she's like, dance, it's on my lap, and she's like, you can touch. And I go, okay, you know, like I had no idea really, like I kind of had the idea, but like
straight into our bottle.
It's just like the old, like you just expect that you're
You
not
just
allowed
assume
to.
not until you know.
You
otherwise-
can touch.
Something
Okay.
tells you because you know you're not degenerates and you're not just like okay, well
Yeah.
you're a woman.
right trigger in the GTA.
So I'm just like, you know, I'm fucking sitting there or whatever, and she's like, yeah, you can touch. She's like, you can really do whatever, you just, you know, you got to be gentle. And she goes, it's your first time, you don't have to be so gentle. And so I'm
You
like,
ripped her
okay, you
arm
know.
off? Damn.
So she's like chit-chatting with me, and we're like, you know, we're just like talking, but like she's like, you know, dancing the whole time on me, and I'm just like fucking like feeling. And then she started talking about something about like the pierced nipples and about those for a minute, and I was like, I'm into it. And then she like started like rubbing her tits on me, like basically making me motorboat her for the whole fucking like time. So that song finishes up, and then the next one's like my song. So like we're just chit chatting, and I'm fucking like enjoying it. And then we get to the end of it, and she goes, all right, you know, she goes, I've really enjoyed our time, but time's up, unfortunately. And she's like, unless you want another dance. And I go, how much for a second one? And she goes, I can do it for 30. And I'm like, I've just got 220. She's like, I can make change. I'm like, okay. And she goes, or you can let me keep it as a tip. I'm like, you know what? You've been awesome. You know, keep it as a tip. So I give her the $40. I do the second one, and she's like, Cody gave her a tip. So we do that, finish up, and I walk out of there. And really quick, they're gonna explain the girl that I'm talking about got up from that table when they saw me, and a girl had just finished up, and they're like, oh yeah, we were sitting over here watching this now, and you can tell us like how that went. And I'm like the last one in the line walking up there, and they're like walking up to the table, and the girl that just came off the stage, who is abs and stuff, she's just amazing looking, she's like, hey, I want to borrow you for a second. And I go,
And like we both,
Are you sure?
well, Cody and I stop, and like she's like to Cody, she's like,
yeah, it's better if it's private. And Cody's like, I just spent $80 on a dance. I'm
well,
not.
As soon as I realized he was talking to Cody, I was like, yep, I'm out. I'm not getting drug into this, so I walk away.
Yeah, and I felt bad because she was really good looking. Not gonna spend the. She was really trying to talk me into going to the ATM, and I was like, hey, like I'll come find you, okay? And she was like, all right, you know, she knew that meant like he's not fucking coming back.
But
And then I walked up there with them, and they're gonna explain what happened while I was in the dance.
so Cody, he gets up, he goes over there, he starts walking away, and so Jeremy and I, like, you know, they're switching out. That the blonde girl goes off with Cody, and then the girl who goes on the stage is like the one that she's like got piercing, she's really tatted up, and it's just me and Jeremy on one side of the stage, and then it's like some other guy on the other side of the stage. Like I think it was just one guy by himself. Well, you know, she was over there at first, and then once she saw, like, realized, because at this point Anthony had like, or no, I still had some money left, so like we were tossing, you know, back and forth, and she came over and was giving us all the attention. She was very much like the same as the one that was like the blonde one that was with Cody, was very much like, here, give me your hands. Like it was a lot of that. And just the whole time, you know, over by Jeremy and I, and, you know, we're just having a great time tossing back ones back and forth, and we're just kind of, you know, chit-chatting, talking about it, you know, having a good time. So at one point, what was it, you know, because you, like I said, you got to, it's more about knowing when to like throw the one, more so than, because it's like, it doesn't matter if you throw it and she doesn't fucking see it, you know?
Yeah, like you kind of want to like maybe like hold the money up, or maybe throw to get their attention to come over to you, and then like, you know, they can tell that you're like throwing money. You know, if you're putting it in their G-string, so they keep going and like giving you the attention when they think that more money is coming.
But so, like, you know, she was very much like that. And then Jeremy and I are just having a good time. Well, at this point, that's when Cody comes out. And, like, so we all go back to the table. And we're sitting there chatting for a minute. And, like, I think at this point, we still hadn't seen my dad.
Yeah,
he came back.
Phil has
He
been
came back
MIA
at some
this
point.
entire time.
We sat there and chilled for a little bit, and he came back because while we were sitting there, he came back, and he, like, while he was sitting there, the doorman came in because Anthony's dad was wearing. This might have happened earlier. I might be
It happened
wrong.
before we went to the bar.
Okay, the doorman saw that Anthony's dad was wearing like a Harley Davidson shirt,
Like,
so
had a
he was
patch on.
showing. So he was showing Anthony's dad his motorcycle for like 20 minutes, and Anthony's dad's like, "What the fuck? I'm just trying to enjoy these girls, and this dude's showing me his bike."
Yeah. Well, like, so we go back to the table, and at this point, you know, I don't think he came back, because we were just sitting there for a while.
Yeah, because I ran into him a few times, like in between things, but never were.
Yeah. But, like, so we get up, and I think
we were kind of thinking about leaving. I still got, and I still had 10 to 50. You know, I gave the 1 $5 to get the attention of them, and then I still had 2 $5 bills, and they had each a few ones, and they were like, "Let's spend this before we leave, and that'll be it."
yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Jeremy gets up, and we're like, we'll go back over to that stage we were just at, because it had just traded to a new girl or whatever. And, like, we walk over, and for some reason, like, it's like the way that stage was, it was like a semicircle that was like up against a wall, whereas like the one in the middle is like,
there was like a pillar
completely around it, whereas the one on the side was like there was just seats around, like, you know, 180 degrees of it. So there's two guys sitting in the circle, and then there's two seats to his right, and then the rest of the circle is completely clear. Jeremy sits to the right of this guy,
so that there's
it was
only
a
one more
lady
seat open.
or a lady. Yeah, well,
I think it,
yeah,
and it also, granted, this is the girl that Jeremy's had his eyes on. There.
Yeah.
But so, like, and I know why Jeremy sat down there in the first place is because she was already over there, because that was, you know, the only two people.
But we couldn't go over there. And
I didn't think about it when I sat down that Anthony and Cody are gonna come up with me and sit next to me, and there was only one free spot available.
Yeah, but like we walk over, and, you know, I was like, I sat over there with Jeremy for the longest time, Cody, if you want to sit down. And then, like, it all dawned us at the same time. It's like, well, fuck it, we'll just walk around to the other side. There's 3 seats over there. So we all get up, and it's, yo, what the fuck? Am I not,
yeah, like giving us sass.
You know, giving us shit. It's like, am I not good? And we're like, we're just going over to the other side. She's like, oh, I thought you guys were just fucking already done over here. And we're like, no, we're just going to the other side.
Because granted, we were only there for like under a minute.
So, like, we go over, we sit down.
Cody's got his 2 5s. You guys each have like $10 in ones.
No, at this point, Anthony only had like $2 or $3, and you know that went a little fast.
So as soon as she comes over to us to start fucking, like, you know, giving us attention, I go, "Hey, will you take $5 out of my mouth with or will you take $5 out of my mouth? And she goes, with what? And she goes, 20. I go, I just got 2 5s. And she goes, a 10 of
Ooh, you cut out, but
Yeah,
Five.
you're cutting out, Cody.
rip.
so she goes a 10 and a 5, and then he's like,
I only got
I
2 5s.
I only got the 2 5s. So she's
Baller.
like, all right.
And
She's
she's
like,
like, I'll
"My
do it with
tits?"
my tits. And I didn't have any bargaining.
He did fucking haggle this stripper. All right, you know. So Cody's just sitting there, and of course, she leans down and basically motorboats him, and then just takes the money out of his mouth with her tits, and then throws it back on the stage. And so me and Jeremy are kind of hanging out, just throwing some money, because at this point, I think Cody either was going to go to the ATM or he just was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit
No,
here.
I was done.
Yeah, so he was just sitting there. So Jeremy and then I ran out of ones, and we're just kind of sitting there. Jeremy still had like 10 or 11 or something, and she
I
kind
had
of goes
$20 in ones.
Oh yeah, so she goes over to walking over to the other side because there's that couple with their money, and I look over at Jeremy and I was like, hey, you're gonna throw those ones out anyway. Hand me half of them. Now there's 2 appealing, and he's like, all right, here you go. That's a good idea.
And I don't know why, but those 2 had money and I didn't. And she was still giving me like a ton of attention.
Well, because that's the thing is whenever it was the tatted up girl, like even though Jeremy had more money in his hands, I think mine was more strategic because I was getting a lot, definitely more than Jeremy was.
Yeah, but I wasn't doing anything, and this last girl was like right in front of me.
Another girl.
Well, she
Yeah.
doesn't know that.
Yeah,
I am sure they talk to each other.
They all got
yeah, they
fucking
do, but in that
radios.
amount of time, they didn't have a chance to talk to each other. There were a lot of them. There were probably 30 strippers in the building.
But so nonetheless, this new one was not like, she was very much like not no touching, stuff like that. So we're all just kind of sitting there enjoying it. We're throwing
Yeah,
money
which you
back.
could tell she was like super sassy.
Yeah, but we're having a good time, and like I'm like, I know Erin, I know she doesn't have a problem with it. Like there was no problem with us going to the social house or anything. Well, we're sitting there, and all of a sudden I just bzz, bzz, and none of us have been pulling out our phones because it's one of those things that it's like,
The
Don't pull out
unspoken
your
rule.
don't pull out
Yeah,
your
which
phone.
I don't even know if that's like a big deal, but like,
I mean, they
we
let us
didn't
bring
wanna
our
find-
in, so I'm like,
Yeah, it's not so much of it's just.
I feel
more,
like if you ask an individual stripper, like, hey, probably be willing to do it,
it's just they don't
if
want
they'd be willing to, but
recording or
but to
taking-
just sit there and like record a stage is kind of fucked.
yeah.
so,
That's
like-
what weird people do.
like I noticed I'm getting a call. I was like, what's up, and then we'll leave. So, and meanwhile, this whole time, I think it's funny that at this stage now it's Cody, me, and Jeremy. It's that couple on the other, and then in the middle there's one guy, and she's just going back and forth between us 3 and then the couple, and then she
And
came back.
mostly with us.
Yeah, and mostly with us. And eventually the guy who was by himself, he's just like, fuck it, and he got up and just walked away in here.
A big upset.
But like, we go through the rest of our ones, and then the song ends, and I'm like, all right, let's find Phil. Let's get out of here. We've spent a lot of money. Like, it was like, I felt like we had the
Absolutely
situation.
worth it.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
worth it. But I felt like we had the situation under control until we got to the bar, and then it was kind of like every man for himself.
Yeah, they kind of got. I don't know. I felt like I did a pretty alright job.
Well, my whole thing is like I was totally on.
Uh-oh. I was totally under what?
I was under control of my money.
Oh yeah, I was under control
Like-
of my money. I just felt like things like I don't know. It's not like
Like I calculated everything. I didn't spend frivolously. The closest I got to it was when I bought the second dance.
My
That's
biggest problem was that I kept underestimating how much I wanted to spend, and so I would just keep having to go back to the ATM, and that service charge fucked me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I made sure to do 100 first time.
I actually didn't get out any money at the strip club. Just or no,
I
know,
had
did.
cash
I
I
did.
could have brought, which kind
I'm just kidding. I did because I got out $40 so that I could get drinks, and then I just had some left over.
If I
See, other
would
than
have
the
known
drinks,
better,
everything
I
there
would
was
have pulled out like 100 or something like Cody did, and I would have just not spent all of it.
Yeah, but like so we, the dance ends. We're getting up, and I'm like, all right, I gotta go outside. I'm gonna call Aaron back, and we're looking for Phil. Can't find him, so we all head outside, and I'm on the phone with Aaron. I talked to her a little bit. I gave her a brief synopsis of what happened, and then we walk outside, and I was like, I'm gonna call my dad. I gotta figure out where he is. So I call him. He's like, all right, I'm heading out. And then we left. And we go home. On the way home, we're listening to music, talking about it, having a fucking great time. We get home. tell Aaron about it, and then Cody and Jeremy left and went home or whatever.
Yeah.
But so something I learned today from my dad is that pretty much he was at the opposite side at stage, like the opposite one across from to the left of the main one.
Oh, I didn't realize there was another one.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, no, there was.
I thought there was the two.
No,
Yeah, I thought there was the main stage and the side stage.
No, there was the main one and then two side ones off of either side, and that's where he was.
That makes.
But yeah, so
It was a pretty
I
good
think-
night.
I mean,
It was a legendary night.
it was a legendary night. Like we had a great time.
I just think it's funny that like we were almost willing to just pops,
Yeah.
and then we spent more time at the club
we spent like
than
3
we spent
hours
anywhere else, probably combined. Like there was drive time, but like spent in any of the other places, we probably spent more time in the club combined.
Yeah. Because we were there getting those
The only
big
thing that might throw it
American
over is
titties.
that we ate at fucking Social House.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
But if we didn't eat and have to wait for food, it would have been even less time at the other places.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like coming out of it, none of us really spent too terribly much money.
Yeah, I'm like, the whole night I only spent like 130, which going to like 4 bars, and the strip.
And that's the
That
thing.
does sound like a really good night.
And I only spent even 106, including service charges and credit card and stuff. And then I think even like I talked to my dad about it today, like about how much he had spent. He was probably the most out of all of us. He spent 180, but like 100 just he's like, because we were at the Social House. He's like, it's your birthday. I'll pay for the Social House. I'll pay for all of our food and drinks. And yeah,
See, I probably spent about 180, but then again, I did
Yeah.
buy myself two dances, and I bought Anthony a dance or half a dance.
but like it was a night.
It was a quality night with good friends.
So next time we'll have to bring Devin, and he'll have to get a.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get a private dance, too. I didn't get one.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to the first episode of our podcast. Hopefully soon we'll be able to bring this to more platforms, and you'll be able to listen to just the audio version of the podcast. As of right now, we're just on YouTube, but we're hoping to expand soon. Thanks for listening.